Hey, you're right here. Let me share with you, undoubtedly, one of the most popular watercolor techniques out there, both by usage and by what makes people admire watercolor medium. Of course, I'm talking about wet-on-wet technique. Be warned, there are some common pitfalls to avoid when using this technique, and in this video, I will make sure to cover the most important points. Because, as you know, some of the mistakes might be very useful for creating beautiful textures and effects, and many mistakes are just wonderful, happy little accidents. Wet on wet is a technique that I absolutely love, and I feel like it's the part of my painting process that pumps me up and motivates me to use watercolor. I use wet on wet regularly, especially for creating backgrounds and skies, like in all these paintings behind me. But also, like in this painting here, for the deer, I use it often when I need some soft blending of colors within some area of my painting. By applying wet paint on a wet surface, the technique allows the pigment to blend and flow freely, making it difficult to achieve with other techniques. With wet on wet technique, you can create gentle washes and striking blends. This versatility makes it a very useful tool and a popular choice for artists of all skill levels. But for many watercolor beginners, achieving the soft blend they desire in their paintings can be a challenge. Before we delve into that, let me offer you a valuable tip that helped me a lot, and I cannot exaggerate its importance for the workflow. Are you ready? Mix your colors beforehand. By mixing colors before wetting the paper, you can save time and increase your efficiency. If you make the mistake of wetting the paper first and then mixing your colors, you'll find that the water will dry too quickly before you can apply the paint. This will cause the colors to bleed and create unsightly harsh edges. To avoid this, mix your colors first, then wet your paper to ensure that your colors bleed seamlessly into one another. Now, onto the technique itself. Begin by wetting your watercolor paper with clean water using a large brush. Ensure that the area of the paper where you want to use this method is evenly saturated but not soaking wet before adding paint. If you fail to add enough water, certain areas will be missed, resulting in unsightly harsh edges, unless that's the effect you want to achieve in some areas. Sometimes it looks good when creating cloudy skies. Then have some tea and load your paintbrush with the desired color and apply it onto the wet paper. The paint should flow and spread easily across the surface, allowing it to blend with the surrounding colors. When adding colors, make sure to work from light to dark for the best results. You should experiment with different color combinations, but don't forget your color theory, and especially the fact that mixing complementary colors will result in mud on the paper. Try adding a second color while the first one is still wet, or use a dry brush to create interesting textures. Remember to keep your colors light and transparent to maintain the luminosity of the watercolor. One important tip is to work quickly and confidently, as the wet-on-wet technique requires fast and spontaneous brushwork. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, as they can often lead to unexpected and beautiful results. When adding darker tones, avoid blending them out with water, as this can create ugly cauliflower effect, unless you want that. Also, resist the urge to overwork the layer, because as the paper dries, the paint won't bleed out as much. If you keep adding paint, you'll end up with harsh edges. If this happens, wait for the layer to dry, then re-wet it again before adding more paint. Allow it to dry completely before proceeding to next stages. Another thing to remember is the fact that the colors will become lighter when the paper will dry, and that all the marks or blots of color that you will put on the paper will be enlarged while the paint will be spreading on the wet surface. Practice this technique, experiment, and you can master the nuances of wet on wet and create stunning watercolor paintings. Remember, if I could do it, then you can do it too. And this is why you are amazing. If you'd like to have a complete step-by-step tutorial for this piece and others, you can become my patron on Patreon. I'll have the link in the description. There are some other benefits too. Have fun.